The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
No! I'm going down to Alphabet Street. I'm gonna crown this girl that I meet. I'm gonna talk so.
Channel switched.
Good evening, everybody. This is Kathy, and it is time for the F word. We're talking faith, family, finance, always football, and you know what, more than anything, fun. And tonight I had a really great opportunity to have some fun, and I know the things that we think about, in our future is finance. Making sure you don't outlive your income is always important, and I really loved tonight's topic, though. I got to be in a workshop learning about Social Security maximization. And you know what? I don't care how old you are. You need to think about it. It does not matter. If you're in your 40s, your 50s, you need to be sitting down and talking with my folks at Asset Protection Services Incorporated in Minnesota. Ken and Kyle Holker are here with me tonight, and I want to thank both of you gentlemen, and it was an excellent presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Having us, Kathy.
Thank you. And you know what? I love that I got to come here and watch you and be a part of everything. And I want to know, though, number one, so Ken, you've been in the business for a little while, but let's talk about how long you've been doing financial services, but what actually made you decide to do it?
Well, I had a law practice where I was specializing in elder law. Asset protection, really, to protect your assets from the nursing home and to protect them from estate taxes. Back in 1996, there was a great big change in the nursing home law, and I learned about the concept of a Medicaid-compliant annuity, which required me to get different licenses. I had to have an insurance license. That was $150 million in annuities ago.
Wow.
Use annuities to help people protect their assets that would be lost to a nursing home. Include stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, automobiles, collectibles, coins, everything else. But if they're done right and they're in a Medicaid-compliant annuity and you meet the requirements, you can protect it all. So that's how I got into it back
Wow.
in 1996. And it just, in the early days, it was the isolated thing, and it just became to the point, it got to the point where I enjoyed what I was doing on the financial side much more than the legal side. All over America today, America is seeing what the legal system really is, the Justice Department.
Yeah.
What's going on in Washington, D.C., you have to be a complete idiot not to see what the legal system is like. So I don't miss that. I don't ever want to go back to that. I have a son that took over my law practice. I got into it primarily just as an offshoot of my law practice back in 1996.
Well, that's great. And you mentioned that then your son is taking over the law practice, so he's part of that, and you have another attorney or a retired?
Well, I don't practice law anymore. I don't even keep my license current. He's had two attorneys that work for him. One just left and moved out of state, but Cody has an attorney that works for him. We've got two full-time attorneys. We've got two paralegals. The one's been with me for 5 years.
Wow.
He knows more about estate planning than 95% of the attorneys in the state.
That's amazing. Okay, so you mentioned Cody. We're talking family affair here because didn't pretty much everybody in your family join the family business?
I have 6 children, and all 6 of them have worked with me at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, in Asset Protection Services, I have Cody, who took over my law practice, Kyle, who's been with me for 10 years on the financial, 11 now, be 11 this fall, won't it? And
I met you pretty soon after you started.
Yeah. And Corey is a registered investment advisor, as is Cody. So we've got two of my boys are registered investment advisors. One of them is an attorney, one of them is an accountant with a tax degree and a designation. And Kyle, our Medicare guy with my daughter Candy, they run our Medicare practice.
Okay, I gotta say it. All K's, right?
That's correct.
I like it. Correct. That's correct with the K. Thank you.
Well, it looks nice on the sheet.
It does.
Candy at the top, and then it goes Kent, Corey, Cody, Kyle, and Kurt.
And that had to be fun when you were yelling for them if you had to go through. I know I have 3 boys.
I think it was Kyle.
That was me. I get the wrong name.
I think it was Kyle that we got a letter on from the county or the state that said if they didn't name him pretty soon, they were going to name him. It took a while to get Kyle in there. We love them all, and it's fun.
How fun, exactly.
With 4 adult children, 2 nephews, a daughter-in-law, 3 other great people. Oh, wait, yeah, 3 others. Yeah. 4, Andy.
Wow.
So, yeah, what Kyle and I really started after he got out of college, it was just Kyle and I doing our thing, and now we've got all these other people.
Okay, so Kyle, or now I know he's contributed quite a bit to the grandchild pile. It's like, I was going, I think there was 5 last time we talked.
I am winning in that category with 5 kids. And irony is, I married my wife, and her name's Carrie, with a K.
Yeah, they have the same birthday.
And we have the same birthday, yes. That's. So I told her, I said, if we're going to get married, we have to stick with K tradition. So my 5 kids all start with K.
And their names are?
My first one is named Catherine after both my grandmas, so Catherine and Isabel. Second one's named Kendall, I named it after my dad. Carter, Larissa, and Kyle Joseph.
Aw. KJ. I love it.
KJ, that's right.
Wow. And so, you know what I think is so great is because when you look at succession planning, you're doing the best kind of succession planning you can possibly do. And, were you guys raised to want to get into this business, or you just saw how good Dad was?
I can't speak for my kids. I've been blessed that we didn't live like we had 6 kids. We've done well, and kids. Every one of my children started working for me when they got a driver's license. We were doing hundreds of trusts a year, Revocable Living Trust. We started doing seminars in 1990, and I think I was the first one in Minnesota to do a public living trust seminar. And
wow.
back then, it wasn't common for attorneys to advertise, and it was even less common to expose the system. So they would come and make the copies of the trust, assemble them, put them in the binders, get the files all ready for trust execution. Always been around a professional environment. I can remember I had to work a lot of Saturdays, on top of things. I would take my kids up, and I hired them to clean the office, probably when they were 9, 10 years old. And we used to have these old check writers, the things that you put the numbers on. It was coded checks. And they would all do that, and they'd give me bills for their cleaning, and they'd stay at the typewriters and love playing with the copying machines, all that kind of stuff. So they've always been around that type of environment, and I think they like the flexibility of being self-employed as opposed to...
Right.
They've all worked with me at some point.
That's great. Did you go or do anything else? Well, you went to college.
I went to college, ironically, to be a pilot. 2009, they furloughed a couple pilots. So that's when I joined up with my dad. My training, being a pilot, fly around the equator, and if you're 1 degree off, you try to fly at 1 degree, 500 miles off from your destination. And so when it comes to financial planning, it's just like that. You got to be exact. You got to know what you're doing. Experience can
He was all set to go to a commercial pilot school, and that was right after the big recession. And we'd gone out to his graduation ceremony, and we came back, and front page news, airline pilots around the world, 15,000 of them lost their job that year. I said to Kyle, you're going to be 40 years old before you ever fly a plane, come and learn something else. And he's worked with me ever since. He's been right there for everything.
I want my son to get into this business. He's 24, and it's amazing to me that he's a preschool teacher. They don't pay anything. So I said, you know what? He wants to move on to another phase of his life, and I said, you need to be looking at other things for income then, because it's sad to say, the most important things in our lives are our children, and they get paid the least to take care of our kids. So it is something. Do you do any kind of internships if I sent them over to you?
Sure, we can train them. Cover everything.
Well, speaking of everything, all of these workshops that you've done, how many have you done over the years?
My first one was done in January of 1990. It was a living trust, how to avoid probate with a living trust. And I continued doing those for about 10 years, and we did living trust for between 4,000 and 5,000 people.
Wow, at a time?
Well, in that whole period.
Oh, okay.
So I just kind of laid off because the financial stuff was picking up, and I still had all these people, and I marketed to my. Never looked back. I still have. The second living trust I did from that first seminar just died about a month ago.
Wow.
What was interesting, Kathy, was they brought in the folder and everything, and there was this ad from January 1990 advertising the seminar in the of the clubhouse of the Buffalo Golf Course.
Oh.
They keep everything.
Oh, that's so neat to be able to see that.
Yeah, just, I met with the surviving son end of May, first part of June.
And when you set that up the right way, you get the next generation of business.
Yeah, I've done trust for he and his wife.
So, okay, on all these years, all these seminars, workshops, everything that you've done, what has been your most, let's see, your most effective topic? That's
I don't think we started with living trust, and that just went on until I just got and financial part was. I don't think we've ever had any greater success. Social Security maximization. There's 10,000 baby boomers a day turning 65. The problem with seminar selling is it's a tough racket. You're not selling any product. We never even mention annuity or life insurance, right?
No.
You sell yourself. You have to convince the people that you know what you're talking about and that you come across the right way. You're never selling anything but yourself in the seminars, and a lot of people just can't do it. They go up there and they preach this and they preach that, but they come and they go, and I've been doing it now for 29 years.
Wow. And folks, you know what? He gives away money. It's crazy. It's like, if you get this question right, I'm going to give you $100,000. $100,000, sorry, yes. $100. My eyes. $100,000.
I make sure we get that right.
Well, the story.
But isn't it 100? Yeah, 100.
The story of
grand.
that is.
I love that.
Before I did my very first Social Security seminar, IMO that set us up with it had a guy in Ohio, named Gary Sickle. Gary was doing a seminar, and he invited us out to see him. Went out there, and he had custom-made Benjamin Franklins. Get up and say, well, you know the answer, I'll give you a Benjamin. And they were made by Fannie Farmer someplace in Pennsylvania. But it looked exactly like a $100 bill. Fantastic mint. And we did those until last year. We can't buy them anymore. So we upped the ante to the 100 grand bar.
100 grand bar.
Yeah,
Okay.
The best mint bars I've ever had.
Oh, they were phenomenal. You know, they'd eat one and they'd come up afterwards. You got any more of those? I'd really like another one. Yeah, but you have looked and looked and looked and can't find anybody who makes the Benjamins anymore.
Amazon.
Nope.
Have you looked? You can't find it there?
These were custom made they were Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae. No, Fannie Farmer.
Fannie Farm. Okay, yeah, Fannie Mae is the
government. Fannie Farmer.
Wow.
They were delicious.
So people are going to want to hear a lot more about what you talk about and what you do. So can you give me an example of, okay, so you talked about Social Security maximization tonight. People filled out their sheets. They had great questions. I specifically, personally relate to the divorced part of it. That's something, I made more money, so I'm really not that concerned about his. So, but if I got remarried, then I wouldn't be able to claim his. Let's say he made more. But if he never got remarried, he could claim mine.
No, you can get remarried, Kathy, after age 60.
All right, I got some time to have fun still. Okay. Yeah. Oh my God, my birthday's next week. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be eating. My birthday next week gets me the same menu choices as my parents. So my dad will love to take me out to eat now and make me order off the senior menu.
Okay.
I'm having a little that one I'm having a hard time with because I just went, oh. And my 24-year-old son said, Mom, here's something really weird. Both you and Dad got something in the mail at my apartment, AARP. I went, what? They're trying to find me because I keep throwing the stuff away. I'm like, I'm not gonna admit to it. Wow. But okay, so the whole married part of it, divorce part of it. I mean, there's so many different. How many different ways to claim Social Security is there?
Oh well, there's.
I mean,
there's
thousands.
There's less than there was 3 years ago. In my case, for example, my wife has never worked outside the home. Never gotten a 1099. She's never gotten a W-2. You look at her Social Security, and it's all zeros for 48 years. And I filed at age 66 and suspended.
Mm-hmm.
She moved right in, and she was able to get half of what my PIA was. That's gone. Those things are changing rapidly. It was interesting because, you know, we used to do a lot of mailing advertising. When I went up to file, I sat down with a supervisor and saying,
Yeah.
And I'm Ken Holker. And she looked at me and, oh, you're that guy that does the Social Security seminars.
I love it.
I said, yeah. File and suspend was going away within 48 hours, and I was there on the last business day, Friday afternoon, and so I looked right square in the eye, and I said to her, why are they doing away with Social Security, or why are they doing away with file and suspend? Back in she said, because the wrong demographic was taking advantage of it. So that was one of the ways they're cutting back is, you know, they've eliminated things like the millionaire's loophole. Be able to take your Social Security and at age 70 pay it all back and get a higher amount. But now they've cut that down to 1 year. Talked about that.
Yes.
So yeah, a friend of mine in Oregon had a client who did a couple of clients.
Wow.
Yeah, they basically got to use all that interest-free for 8 years. And, you know, well, you maybe collected a half, well, probably not a half, $30,000 a year for 8 years, you know, $250,000, or they'd sit down, write out a check, and they get the higher rate.
Wow.
So they've done away with that. They're doing away with file and suspend because the wealthier client. But, yeah, I just did the biggest maximization account I've ever done was for that, say his name, a very wealthy airline person. I showed he and his wife how to put $536,000 more in their pockets before they died than if they didn't. And that's why we do the seminars. You know, and I tell people this in the interviews. Like I said, do the seminars to meet you. Reports, we give you a $350 report to show you we're not the guy.
Right.
And, you know, hopefully they'll see that they came in and they got a $350 report for nothing, and I showed them how to make somewhere from $50,000 to $400,000 just by proper planning.
You're adding commas to their income.
And, what's really fun about it is people, as opposed to when I was practicing law, they actually say, that's the biggest. You know, there it is. It's dollars and cents.
Mm-hmm.
I had this police dispatcher for one of the local suburbs here and gotten a divorce, and she didn't know a thing about the spousal. No, didn't know she was coming because she was going to file for her own. She went and filed on her ex-spouse, and it was about $1,300 a month, so she decided to keep working till 70, and more than doubled her payment. So,
wow. Because that's right. Because you can stop theirs when you're
sure. Yeah, you walk away from it. You take the higher one,
and you can still do that.
Sure. Yeah.
People, you need to really come and talk to them, because I know so many people that just waited until they were 62. I have a girlfriend. I went, "Are you kidding me?" She goes, "Yeah, I'm going to file for Social Security now." I went, Wait.
That's why I said at the beginning of the seminar, we meet these people all the time who come in. Why I start out with the one slide. People are not due to lack of light, but a failure to open their eyes.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like the legal system. You know, don't bother me with the law. Don't bother me with the facts. I've already made up my mind. Well, point in my career where I don't want to waste my time.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you can generally help everybody get more than they would have known.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes that's in the mid six figures. And we've had a number of them over 400,000, but I just hit my first $500,000 one last week.
That's amazing. So, Kyle, then one of the things that you talked about at the end, do you do a completely separate workshop on Medicare?
Well, we
or do you
open enrollment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just did, you did a 5-minute highlight, got them going, oh, snap.
Well, I mean, because Medicare is such a big part of retirement. I mean, we're talking today about Social Security, but when you talk about retirement, it's more than Social Security collecting and Medicare. You have so many different obstacles you hit in retirement. Longevity, living too long, proper income, market risk. I hate to say the extended carry events because, you're in your home.
Right.
But that still costs money.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have all these obstacles you have to deal with in retirement that people don't sometimes not thinking about until it happens.
Well,
You see it all the time. Market loss, people panic when the house is going to having, all things that can't prevent necessarily the situation.
right. Well, I saw that Don't Go Broke in a Nursing Home kind of deal. I mean, I think every single person out there has had some family member lose everything.
And it is so tragic. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it is so tragic. I mean, especially if there's any kind of age difference.
Right.
Even though you have assets that you can protect and everybody gets to protect, the liquid part of those assets, Minnesota just doubled theirs 2 years ago to $125,000.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine 5 years ago, your spouse is in the nursing home and all you've got is $60,000, you can have.
But no, how can you? You can't.
I mean, what's even worse are the idiots out there who think there's nothing you can do about it. I did an advanced plan coming up on the Iron Range several years ago. It had all to do with nursing.
Mm-hmm.
I got it all done, and he paid, the first half up front, and then I drove up there. Went in there, and he said to me, I'm going to apologize in advance. Drive up here because I didn't tell this to you. I'm not going to do the plan.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Why? And I swear to God, these were his exact words. Because the guy I play cribbage with at the VFW told me that I didn't need. And
see, if you would have been at the American Legion, that wouldn't have happened.
So we use that sometimes as a seminar. But the long and the short of it was, about 5 years later, his wife was in the nursing home, and had he done the plan, he would have been able to protect everything. And the last time I checked with his, it was his daughter-in-law who I checked with. They'd spent over $500,000 in the nursing home. He was broke. He had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The guy at the VFW told him he didn't need to do it. You think, my gosh.
The stoolies, that's what I call them. They're up there.
That's where we got.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we came up with that original slogan back in 1980. Who plan to win? People who don't plan to lose. Because when you're dealing with the government, the default is you're going to lose.
And you need a team.
You need a team, and that's what I put together 7 years ago. I had worked with my kids off and on in my law practice, and they're doing paralegal stuff. All worked with me at some point in the financial. All never got a financial. Everybody else had at least a financial license, and you can't believe some of the stuff that we've seen, and I don't know. I'm hardened, but geez, you see people fall, and there's just no excuse for it. People who plan win and people who don't plan lose, and it's not self-serving. It's not arrogant. It's not egotistical. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
If you do nothing,
that's what you get.
You're going to get nothing.
Exactly. You get nothing in return for nothing.
You get absolutely nothing.
It just so what made me crazy. Years ago, having worked, because I started in the industry in 99, got life, health, 63, I had an infant, busted my butt, passed everything the first time, but I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I didn't know. I knew I needed life insurance because my mom had the Lutheran Brotherhood guy come out and say, yes, child, now you need to get life insurance. And I cried and cried and get some on him. It was a whole life policy, cash value. But when I started, so he was born in 89, so now it's 99. And I've got, policies for everybody. And I'm learning, I'm going, well, wait, you can do this. What? I had no idea. And I was so upset that my agent didn't tell me that every 5 years I could get an increase without ever checking my health, and just to be a little bit higher in cost every time I had a life event, like a child or a marriage, all these different things. If I have 25, and then when I'm 30, when I'm 35, and he didn't. I mean, just right there, it opened my eyes to it. It's like, wow, how much people don't know. You know what you have to get. You have to have homeowners insurance and auto insurance, but people don't insure their wealth.
But they can if they want to.
Exactly.
Like I think Kyle said, you only insure what you can't afford to lose. You can insure your income. You can insure that you have. We're not supposed to use this word in a sales presentation. Develop your own private pension with guaranteed funds. Every pension in the
Every single one, and they make annuities out to be bad, like they're a bad thing.
Because they don't tell the truth about it. You work for Honeywell, and you get a pension. And do you think that pension is coming from Honeywell?
No.
It may say Honeywell pension on it, but Honeywell goes out to ABC Insurance Company and says, we have Kathy here, and we got 40 years of work. She's got 30 years to live. Here's what's in her account. How much will it take for you to cover us for that long? And they'll do it at a discount.
And then my husband, yep.
And then Honeywell keeps the difference. So, I mean, that's a big consideration when corporations merge and they take over corporations, or what are these pension funds? Because they can make hundreds of millions of dollars farming it out to an annuity company. So they do.
They do. And the companies.
And annuities get a bad rap for some reason because...
I think the bad rap is because misrepresentation.
Oh, sure.
Definitely.
But other people just have these crazy notions that that's an old person's deal.
You're gonna.
And what I do when I encounter that in some of these interviews is I pull out my iPhone, the iPhone 10X, and I said, "How much has this changed since the first one I got in 1911? It was the size of a brick, tail on the end.
Yep.
And I was driving a Porsche back then, and I wanted it hardwired." But I was so cool because
I was just about to say you were cool.
I mean,
that's cool.
I could take mine out of there. My brother-in-law and other guys had these
was
car
stuck
phones.
in the.
I had all these kids in Little League and soccer, and I'd be out there with this brick in my hand with a little tail on, practicing and billing my time at the game because I was talking with clients, at $1.25 a minute.
You were the cool dad. All the others like.
How much annuities have changed. The concept of the indexed annuity, I think, was brought out in the late 90s to combat money that would have normally gone to annuities going into mutual funds. Well, pretty soon people figured out how much mutual funds were really costing them, and they've slowed down on indexed annuities. But there's all the difference in the world between today's annuities and what was going on in the 70s and 80s.
Right.
They're light years apart.
You have to hold it for a certain amount of time, and then you can take it out, but only so much per year.
During the 9-year run-up from 2008 to 2009, that 9 years, I just had a client out in Wilmer. We did an annuity for him in March 24th of 2000. It was a 10-year product, so it came up. I always use his statement. I white out his name when I show people what are the returns. His first year, from March 24th of 2009 to March 24th of 2010, he made 22.0%. Called the insurance company.
What?
Said there's been some kind of a mistake. Well, American Equity immediately called me because nobody in the history of their company had ever tried to give money back. But monthly point-to-point strategy with a cap. In March, just a couple of months ago, his 10-year thing came up for renewal. He called me and asked me if I'd drive out there. And in 2018, he didn't make any money. Nobody made any money in the index because of the big drop at the end of the year. So I drive out there to Wilmer, and I come in, and he just gets in my face, jokingly. He says, I didn't make any money. And I went like this with my fingers, and I said, this is the smallest violin in the world. And so he was a Mr. Organized, and he pulled out his 10 statements. He had all the statements, laid them on his dining room table. In 10 years, he had 2018 where he made zero in the month-to-month strategy. But in the 9 previous years, do you know what his lowest return?
What?
9.
You're kidding. That's
9 straight years of 9.31% or greater.
And it was always monthly point to point.
With an average, with a cap. And,
wow.
I could have taken that money and rolled it into another one, but he was so happy with it. I said, well, let's just leave it. It's doing well. But here's what was really interesting. I call annuities the Energizer Bunny of the financial world. He was 67 when I did that for him. And he turned 70, and it was an IRA. So 3 years into it, he had to start taking
The RMDs. Yep.
107,000 went in. Took out 77,000 in the next 7 years. Okay.
Yep.
So 107,000 in, 77,000 out. You know what his walkaway was on March 24th this year?
What was it?
He still had 169,000 cash in.
See, oh my, that's what, you know what, that's the power of it right there, and that is...
The Energizer Bunny of the financial world.
So, okay, so he was 67. What do you think is one of, like, the sweet spot for somebody to get an annuity? How old?
Well, I think it just depends on what your plans are.
But okay,
If you have no plans to access it for 10 years, there's different types.
Mm-hmm.
There are annuities that are set to build up in the accumulation account, and there's others where you have private pension side,
right.
The lifetime guaranteed income. So it depends on what your goals are.
Okay.
You know, there's an account out there right now. We have access to the highest income accounts out there. There's one out there from Athene that they give you 10% simple interest every year.
Mm-hmm.
So you get 10% the first year as a bonus. Pick the 100,000 in. They'll start at 110,000 each year. On the anniversary, they'll add 10,000. So it's guaranteed to double in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just did one $500,000. So when he gets ready to turn it on in 10 years, there'll be $1 million there guaranteed in his income account.
See, that's...
It's knowing what to do. Kyle and I do this every single day.
And I know I'm going to get a little nosy here. How old are you, Kyle?
I'm almost 40.
Almost 40. So would you recommend an annuity to a 40-year-old?
Depends on the circumstance.
Mm-hmm. So, because, I mean, a lot of them are in the accumulation growth. They're, that period. So they're growing.
You probably wouldn't an annuity and an IRA, for example.
Mm-hmm.
If you took it out, you'd have the early withdrawal penalties.
Right.
Take all those things into consideration. Depends on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
We would probably go with more. We like the rule of 100. That's a fairly
yes.
All they did was steal that from the legal profession, which has the rule of 90.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. And I use the rule of 90 if people are retired, because that's what I cut my teeth on.
Mm-hmm.
In the rule of 90, you take the client's age. I had a brother who was 75 years old,
mm-hmm.
and he had $1 million and Alzheimer's. So you're appointed as his guardian. All right, the court would say, all right, Kathy, you can take his $1 million, his age, and subtract it from 90. Or 75 from 90, you get 150, or 15%,
mm-hmm.
$150,000. All you can have, 15 total, where it's exposed to loss or risk. So in that situation, if dollars market and you lost it all, you'd be okay because you were within the rule of 90. Got $165,000 in there and lost anything at all, you'd be entirely liable for it because you broke the rule. So I personally, and I don't know, I think Kyle does too, and some of the others in the office, but I use the rule of 90 for asset allocation retired,
mm-hmm.
and we use the rule of else. I think that rule.
I like that.
I think the rule of 100 is great, but you stop and you think about it. If you're retired, you're not contributing to your IRA, and you're not getting a match if you're 401k or a 403b.
Mm-hmm.
So you're done really growing that. And we see all the time, people. I just looked at a statement here early this year, and the lady worked at Walmart in Monticello. And I looked at her statement, and it wasn't a big account. I looked at her statement from a year ago, and in January this year, they'd gone through this gigantic loss at the year. They lost. Well, she takes a look at her statement, and she says, well, look at it grew this much. I'm pretty happy with that. And I said, well, you shouldn't be, because 98% of that was what you and the employer put in. Nothing came from the market. And they don't look at it. They don't know how to read a statement.
No.
So they're perfectly content to sit there in a losing environment because they're contributing and their employer is matching. They think that's growing their account.
And that's when you want to talk to people about the in-service distribution, getting some of that money out and keeping it safe, and probably use the rule of 100 on that.
If you're still working, we use the rule of 100. But if you're right there at retirement age or past retirement, I use the rule of 90 because I just think it's more conservative. And I don't apologize because when they changed the fiduciary rule here, I signed up to get my. Remember, I was laying on the beach in Maui, had the book, signed up and paid for the class at Kaplan. I was going to go over, read the book, go take it. And I remember this. It was just an epiphany. I'm laying there in my sunglasses, and all I could see was a palm tree against the blue sky. That's all was there. The wind was blowing, it was beautiful. And I had this damn book that I was holding, and it was like a Sears catalog. And I just thought, at my age, I guess I just don't want to do that. I have a perfect. I've never had a client lose a penny because I'm not licensed to give them anything they can lose money in. And so I said, hey, you guys go ahead, and so my boys went and took the test and got it. That's fine with me. I have a perfect record because I've never had a client lose a penny.
You can sleep at night because you help them sleep at night.
Yeah, we on my old business cards, we used to say that. We sell sleep insurance.
There you go. Didn't even know that. So we're going to be done here. We're getting out in another minute. How can people reach you?
Well, we have a great website that Kyle designed, and Kyle put it together.
You did?
I came up with the name. yourpileofmoney.com.
yourpileofmoney.com.
Most people don't even have to write that down. That's Asset Protection Services, yourpileofmoney.com. All of our information is on. We still have those biographical videos in there. Those old ones have been there.
I went on there. I saw it. Yep.
Yeah, we're changing some of that. That's how to get a hold of us. We've been around Asset Protection Services. You Google us, do whatever you want, but we're in Champlin, Monticello, Minnesota, and Edina.
That's wonderful.
So,
taking it to the family.
Yeah, Kyle and Candy take care of the Medicare stuff down in the Edina office. We all float between them, but Kyle and...
So you said you go to the Edina one?
I do.
Mostrom? I'm right by there. I'm in Chanhassen. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not just.
You don't just sit in the office, right?
We have clients in 78 of Minnesota's 87 counties.
Wow. Okay.
We used to have a great big map of it in the office where we had all the living trust clients.
And do they all come here, or do you go?
We travel.
Okay.
I think that was one of the best decisions I made in 1990 was I started seeing how old my demographic was for these living trusts. I started doing house calls back in 19.
Wow. The doctor
I would say that
is in.
Signed had more execution homes than I've had in my office. We have done.
Wow.
People love it. They absolutely love it.
Well, exactly. I mean, because you know what? It's personal. It's personal. Become part of the family that way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like Verna out there in Wilbur, You come out, I've made some chocolate chip cookies. I know you like chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, but that's a routine. We like what we're doing. We have a lot of fun. And
that's the big F word.
My business card says results never lie.
That's right.
Speaking of F words, we do take it to the farmers.
Yes. That's good.
Some of our favorite clients.
That is wonderful. And there's so many, I mean, right now they need our help. So
thank you for having us on.
Yes, thank you for being on the F word. You made it fun. Everybody have a great night, and we'll talk to you next week. Fantastic. Fabulous. Finances. Always fun. Good night, everyone.